Have you ever noticed that, many times, a woman's behavior hides much more than words can express? Sometimes, a woman's body speaks so clearly that her words seem insignificant compared to the force of the signal she sends. Every gesture, every glance, every movement carries a psychological weight behind it. And the most intriguing part is that, often, she herself is unaware of what her body is revealing. If you've ever wondered what lies behind her posture, the small gestures, or the way she behaves in certain situations, it's because you're facing something much deeper than just simple reactions. You are facing the psychology of female body language. It's a complex code, often hidden in plain sight, yet full of clues that can change the way you relate to her. Get ready, because understanding these secrets of female behavior will make you see her world through a new lens. Female behavior is fascinating, full of nuances that often escape the hasty eye. Sometimes, female psychology expresses itself subtly, like an unspoken game of words or gestures that say more than 1,000 words. The female body, for example, reveals more about what she's thinking than any well-articulated sentence. By observing her body language, you can see how the smallest details of her behavior tell an entire story about what she's feeling in that moment. These nonverbal cues can be more revealing than any conversation, since facial expressions and body posture are often more sincere than what she says. A practical example of this can be found in everyday interactions. Imagine a conversation where she makes small adjustments to her hair or slightly steps back from someone. These movements can indicate discomfort, or on the other hand, attraction. Female psychology teaches us that, many times, behavior manifests in how a woman positions herself relative to someone, without her having to say a word. And this is exactly where their secret lies. The body never lies. A woman may be saying one thing, but her body may be shouting something entirely different. This dissonance between verbal and nonverbal communication is a vast field, often overlooked by those trying to understand female behavior. Over time, noticing these patterns and paying attention to her body language can become a powerful tool. It's not just about understanding what she's saying, but interpreting what's left unsaid. And by observing these small nuances, you begin to realize that her secrets are in plain view for everyone to see, but not everyone has the trained eyes to spot them. With knowledge of female psychology, you can adjust your communication to create more connection, something that is often missing in relationships. Additionally, this understanding allows you to make more informed decisions, whether on a date or during an important negotiation, as female behavior reveals what's behind every gesture and word. As you start to notice these signs, something interesting happens. A woman's confidence can also be read in her gestures. Women who are confident typically take up more space, make broader gestures, and maintain strong eye contact. On the other hand, gestures of nervousness or insecurity can be observed when she's feeling hesitant, such as avoiding eye contact or crossing her arms. These physical manifestations are key to understanding what she's thinking, even when her words seem to tell a different story. Understanding these signs is essential for more effective and deeper communication with the women around us. As you become more attuned to these behaviors, you realize that female psychology goes beyond the obvious. Women have a unique way of communicating, of revealing their feelings, and understanding this is a real advantage. As a master in reading her body language, you become capable of interpreting these secrets and applying this knowledge practically, whether in personal or professional settings. This deeper understanding of female behavior creates a genuine connection, one that goes beyond words and is built on mutual trust. And believe me, when you understand what she's trying to hide, the possibilities for strengthening any relationship are endless. Now that we understand how female psychology is manifested through behavior and body language, it's important to delve into the influence of cultural and social factors. The female body not only reflects emotions, but is also shaped by societal expectations. Throughout history, women have had to learn how to control their behavior to meet what's expected of them, whether in professional, social, or family settings. This inevitably influences their nonverbal communication. Often, a woman uses her body to play a role imposed on her by society, rather than expressing who she truly is. Female behavior, therefore, is a response to both internal and external influences. On one hand, she may present herself as an independent woman, with strong opinions and a confident posture. On the other hand, she may appear more reserved or submissive in situations where social context demands such a posture. Female psychology shows that, often, the female body acts according to these external expectations, responding automatically to the environment she's in. For example, a woman might adjust her posture in a professional setting to fit the stereotype of seriousness or authority. This adaptation to social roles can be seen in various ways. In a romantic setting, a woman might appear more open, using her body language expansively to create a connection. However, in a more formal environment, she might withdraw, cross her arms, or adopt a more rigid posture. This behavior is often a reflection of the norms she has internalized throughout her life. And when you notice these signs, you start to understand what's behind her behavior, what pressure she's feeling, and how her body adjusts to these situations. In practice, this is clearly reflected when you see her adjust to the environment around her. For instance, a woman might settle differently in a work meeting than she would at a gathering with friends. She knows that the expectations of her behavior are different in each context. Understanding female psychology helps you recognize these adjustments, allowing you to perceive what's being hidden non-verbally. Often, she adapts to these expectations to avoid being judged or to achieve a specific goal. The female body is, without a doubt, a powerful tool in this process of implicit communication. These interactions, which may seem simple at first glance, are filled with layers and meaning. By decoding her body language, you can better understand what she's trying to convey without her needing to say a word. But female behavior goes beyond social pressures. It is also influenced by the personal experiences of each woman, making each one unique in the way she communicates. Every story, every life experience, is reflected in how she behaves and how she uses her body to express herself. By understanding this range of factors, you can build a richer, deeper relationship with her in any context. What's even more interesting is that, by recognizing these patterns, you become able to help her cope with external pressures in a healthier way. By understanding what she's trying to communicate through her body, you can offer support and create an environment where she feels more comfortable being who she truly is. This, in turn, can strengthen your relationship, whether in a professional or personal setting. And by understanding these dynamics, you get closer to the secret behind female behavior, the constant balancing act between who she is and what the world expects of her. Female behavior, especially when it comes to relating to others, is a real dance of signals and interpretations. What often seems like a common gesture can carry a much deeper meaning. Female psychology is a powerful key to understanding these nuances, and when we talk about their secrets, we're referring precisely to these unspoken messages that can only be understood through careful, sensitive observation. A woman might be smiling, but her body could be sending a silent alarm. This is where the true magic of decoding female behavior comes in, understanding what's hidden between the lines. An example of this is when she uses a smile to smooth over an uncomfortable situation, but her eyes, rarely lying, reveal a look of discomfort. This disconnection between what she verbalizes and what her body communicates is an age-old and powerful secret. Often, female psychology reveals itself in moments of tension, where a woman's body says everything her words cannot. When you learn to identify these signs, you begin to understand the secret she's trying to hide, revealing not just what she wants, but also what she needs. This behavior becomes even clearer when we're in a more intimate setting, like a relationship. In these moments, female behavior, especially her body language, becomes a reflection of her vulnerability. Often, she doesn't know how to express what she feels verbally, and her body steps in as the translator. It's common for her to appear more open, or on the other hand, to close herself off when feeling insecure. The key here is to pay attention to the details. A touch, a glance, a slight movement of her hands. All of these are clues to what she really wants to communicate but cannot express in words. In practice, when you're in a relationship, it's often necessary to read female behavior to decode what's beyond the words. When she does something unexpected, like physically stepping away, it might signal that she needs space. But when she moves closer or maintains more intense eye contact, it could be her way of saying she wants more connection. Female psychology teaches us to observe these details and to understand that, often, what she truly wants to communicate isn't in what she says, but in how she behaves. However, understanding these signs is not something that happens overnight. It's a continuous learning process where you gradually familiarize yourself with female behavior patterns, and over time, start to predict her reactions based on her body language. Once you can accurately decode her secrets, the connection with a woman becomes deeper and more genuine. This happens because, ultimately, you begin to understand what lies behind each gesture, movement, and look, making you more in tune with her in a way that few others can achieve. Female behavior is profoundly influenced by how women are raised from childhood, by family values, and by the culture they are part of. The female body, with its gestures and expressions, is shaped by these influences. forming a set of behaviors that are often passed down from generation to generation. Therefore, female psychology cannot be understood without considering these roots. When analyzing her body language, it's not enough to simply observe her current gestures or posture, but also to consider the weight of the family and cultural stories she carries. For example, the way a woman behaves during a crisis might reflect patterns she learned early in life. This behavior can be observed in many everyday situations, where the influences of upbringing and culture become evident. For instance, at a social event, a woman might behave more reserved, or on the other hand, adopt a more expansive posture, depending on the environment and the expectations she perceives around her. She may adjust her posture based on what she has been taught about how to act in society. Female psychology reveals that often, her behavior is a way of seeking approval or acceptance for what is considered right or appropriate. This causes her to behave differently depending on the context she's in, often without even realizing it. When female behavior is observed through the lens of family and cultural influences, it becomes clear that a woman's body functions as a living memory. Each movement, each glance carries these stories of upbringing and culture, and many of these behaviors are internalized so deeply that they become almost automatic. For example, the way she expresses anger may be a direct response to what she learned about the acceptability of that emotion. A woman who was taught to stay calm might behave in a controlled way, even when inside, she is overwhelmed with emotion. This is a manifestation of female psychology that is often harder to perceive, but it makes all the difference when interpreting her behavior. Nonverbal communication, the central focus of female body language, can be an excellent tool for understanding these influences. For example, when you observe a woman in stressful situations, you may notice whether she behaves aggressively, passively, or even submissively, depending on her history and the cultural expectations she has internalized. Female psychology also tells us that these behaviors are often an attempt to protect herself or avoid conflict. She may, for instance, step away or avert her gaze, as a way of shielding herself from something she subconsciously learned to avoid. Understanding these layers of female behavior not only enriches communication, but also makes it possible to help a woman break free from negative or limiting patterns. By noticing what's behind each gesture and behavior, you can create a more welcoming and empathetic environment, where she feels comfortable expressing herself more authentically and truthfully. This is the power of understanding female psychology. Recognizing the invisible forces that influence the female body and using that knowledge to create deeper, more meaningful connections. Female behavior is, without a doubt, a complex combination of nature and environment, where the secrets of the female body often reveal more than a woman may wish to show. Her body language, in many cases, is an attempt to express what words cannot communicate. By understanding female behavior, you start noticing those little details that, while seemingly insignificant, have a profound impact on interactions. For example, when a woman physically gets closer, it's possible that she's seeking more intimacy or connection. But conversely, when she pulls away or becomes more rigid, it's a clear indication that she feels uncomfortable or needs more space. These signals can be subtle, but they play a vital role in the dynamic between people. Understanding these secrets is more than just observing her behavior. It's about reading the female body as a code that, although often subtle, can be decoded with practice and attention. Female behavior is not just in the big actions, but in the small gestures, facial expressions, the way she touches her hair or moves around a space. Female psychology reveals that, often, women have an almost instinctive way of communicating without words, and this is what makes interpreting their behavior so fascinating. This, of course, requires you to have a more attentive ear and a deeper reading of the situation. Women, in general, communicate much more with their bodies than with words, and this is not limited to personal situations. In professional settings, for example, female behavior can be seen as an attempt to display authority, or conversely, a way to soften the atmosphere and avoid conflict. By paying attention to these details, you can better understand what she is seeking in a given moment, whether it's confidence, comfort, or a closer connection. Her body language often speaks for her much more clearly than her words ever could. The female body is a powerful tool that conveys feelings, intentions, and desires. By understanding this, you start to notice that behind each movement, there is a reason, a motivation, an attempt to communicate something important. This transforms the way you interact with her, making your relationships deeper and more meaningful, whether in a professional or personal context. After all, no one wants to be judged or misinterpreted. Everyone wants to be understood, and understanding these secrets is the first step toward that understanding. However, the most interesting part is realizing that, often, Female behavior reveals more about a woman than she would like to admit. By learning to decode these signs, you gain a clearer understanding of what she's trying to hide, or what she still cannot express openly. But this understanding should not be seen as a form of manipulation, but as a way to create a genuine connection, giving her space to be more authentic and true. Female psychology should not be used to exploit, but to deepen the understanding between people, and thus create more humane and empathetic relationships. Now, I've finished the text on the fifth and final topic. Let me know if it's in line with what you expected, or if you'd like to make any adjustments before we wrap up. And have you ever thought about having any woman you want, just through text messages? There's a secret that all women keep, and it's a mental trigger that activates in their minds when you send certain specific messages. I teach all about this in an ebook, which I'll leave as a gift in the first pinned comment on this video. It's not free, because I put a lot of work into it, but it's almost free, as it's ridiculously cheap. Cheaper than a snack. Go grab your gift. Now that you understand a bit more about what's behind female behavior and the secrets of her body language, it's time to put this knowledge into practice. How will you act next time you notice a gesture that doesn't match her words? Do you know how to recognize the signs of what she's really trying to say? Female behavior is a language full of nuances, and by learning to decode these codes, you'll not only improve your interactions with the women around you, but you'll also build a more authentic and empathetic connection. So, what are you waiting for? Take advantage of these tips and start observing her body language more attentively. And remember, by understanding these secrets, you'll be one step closer to transforming your relationships in a meaningful way. Don't forget to subscribe to continue learning more about how to connect with the female world and much more. Turn on notifications, and I'll see you in the next video. And have you ever thought about making her miss you every day? That's really simple. I've taught how to do that with just a few steps in the video on your screen. Click there and I'll see you there.